let me start with the sessions overview right now. Uh, so we here in the for the first time for this first activity we have two speakers right now. Not actually two, like three, including me. One is Shubh, and the other is Abhishek, and the third is me myself. So let us first get some little introduction of all the speakers, and then we will start with the sessions, and let's see how it goes. So let's start with Shubh. Please introduce yourself to everybody and just share your some social in the chat so that everybody can connect with you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Wait, just a sec. Just a sec. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you Prakhar for this great event, because this is a great opportunity for speakers as well as listeners. So the first of all, the main idea behind this event was like Prakhar told me this I think 1 week ago, like whole idea about this concept, like in an event where speakers will be sharing their knowledge and listeners will be listening and asking questions. The actual point of this event is you will be sharing your knowledge, so you will be like revising your concepts, whatever you learned this week, and listeners will also interact and also learn a lot of things, right? So that's the main like concept of this event. So as I was learning Flexbox this week, and a little bit like I was exploring Flexbox and like layouts and etc. I thought of like let's teach others as well in this event, like just and like a revision kind of thing, so that I could revise as well and also teach others like how to actually understand in an easier way. So a little about me. I'm Shubh. I'm from Uttar Pradesh, India. I'm a front-end web developer, learning and exploring different technologies. I'm a BCA graduate as well, mostly self-taught, but we won't go into that topic. So next thing is so my topic today is Flexbox. So how can we understand Flexbox? What's the best way and what's the best approach to learn Flexbox? And what are the things beginner actually make mistakes? That's why they got confused, because first of all, I learned about floats, and the thing was that it actually looked very easy compared to Flexbox until I understood Flexbox properly, right? Because I was like, this is very complex. Everything is going here and there, and what is going on? I don't understand. Axis is changing and all that stuff. But the main thing is that the perfect approach should be there to understand something. And by perfect, I mean something that you explore yourself by trying something, right? So I think I have shared my socials in the chat. I will share my socials later. So I will just start a little like explaining about Flexbox, and then after my explanation and all the things, I will share my socials, because that is not much important. The main thing is that we share and learn together here. We can connect as well, right? That's important as well. But the main thing is that we are sharing our knowledge here. And the main thing about this event is that everyone is learning here, right? So it's not the thing that I'm professional or this person is professional. No, everyone is learning. So we are equal, right? So let me share my screen first. Okay, so can you folks see my screen? Is it visible?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. So someone is asking, are introverts allowed here? Definitely, absolutely. I mean, you are. I mean, this is what we are supposed to do. Like, open up and share our knowledge, right?
It's an inclusive activity. This whole community is inclusive, all inclusive. So
Exactly.
everybody is welcome.
So I will start with a quick introduction about Flexbox. So uh, as you know, like I don't know if everyone knows about Flexbox, so I will introduce a little bit. So what is Flexbox and why is it used? Flexbox layout is used to lay out the content on the web page. So basically, everything you see here, everything you see anywhere, this is all like layouts, different layouts, right? This is some logo and this is also layout, and all these things are layout, and these things and content have been put on the web. So the thing is how we approach this. There could be like, I don't know, maybe many ways, but most of them were used. Like floats is most used. No, exactly, the floats is used, but the most used concept is Flexbox and grids. So that is why I chose Flexbox, because I learned Flexbox and I'll be learning grids as well. But the today's topic focus is Flexbox. So Flexbox is used to lay out the content on the web page in a more efficient way. It arranges and aligns the distribute elements within a container. So when this says within a container, it's very important because you will need a container with child elements inside so that everything works. And I will explain how. It is way more efficient approach compared to floats. As I don't know if everyone knows about floats, but when I learned about floats, I was like, this is very easy. But then when I learned about Flexbox, I was like, I'm going to use Flexbox everywhere. Literally, I started using Flexbox just after learning from Flexbox Froggy. And I will share a lot of resources as well. So there are two main important things where Flexbox actually could be understood. The thing is, I have seen a lot of threads on Twitter, and every thread looks a little chaotic or maybe confusing because it shares a lot of things. Beginners cannot understand all of those things because it shouldn't be shared like that. Like everything is in those threads are too complex to understand. But I am explaining only two things you need to understand in order to understand the Flexbox properly. The first thing is Flexbox layouts work in one dimension, right? So the thing is, one is row and other is column. Okay, as everyone knows this, just sharing basics. But the main important thing is there are two axes, main and cross axis. Okay, the first thing first, two axes. This is the main axis. I have denoted with a green color and cross axis with red color, so that it can be understood there as well, everywhere. So the next thing is that first thing is main axis and cross axis, both axis, and second thing is properties that control it. There are a lot of properties obviously, but the main two properties you will be using a lot are justify content and align items most of the times, because justify content controls main axis and cross axis is controlled by align items, right? So basically you can understand it as horizontal axis and vertical axis. But the main thing is that a lot of beginners make this mistake because they think this is horizontal and this is vertical, and that is how it works. But that is not how it works, because most of the times when you're working in Flexbox, it is set to default. It is set to default like implicitly already by HTML, CSS, sorry, as default set to row. In flex direction is set to row by default, and that is why main axis and cross axis are there. Okay, but when we set flex direction to column, you will see here, when we set it to column, the axis change. So you can see this axis come from here, came here, and this align items cross axis came here. That is how it works. So this property does not change. This property does not change. Only the axis change. Okay, now the vertical axis is controlled by justify content because we set it to column. And that is why a lot of beginners make mistake, because they do not understand, because they get confused, because no one is teaching them like that, right? Because they do not like understand how it's all working. So only two things you need to understand, right? Axis and property that controls it. So these are the like different layouts I made, like using flex direction properties. And first we will talk about the row. Okay, so here is a very powerful website, CodePen. I'm using CodePen. So basically this is the code. I have a box container, and there are 3 boxes. I've given them classes, box class, and there are 3 classes as well. RGB you can see, and everyone knows what is RGB, obviously. And I kept that like that because why not? So I have given them 3 colors as well as a numbering, and you will understand why I've given the numbering. So the next thing is I gave them properties, CSS properties, a border property for a container, right? So that we can understand how these elements and children are under this contain inside the container. And I have given the width to the container, and I have set it to the center so that it is in the center. So yeah, I know how to center a div. Okay, so yeah, patting my back. So the next thing is I have given this some height, 300 pixels, and just the basic things, right? And box, these boxes, small boxes, has font size and text color, width, height, etc. And then these are the background. So the thing is, you can see one thing is very important. If I do not give a box some width, right, this is going to take the whole space because this is a block element. Div is a block element, you know already. It takes up the whole space if it is not given a width. So I have given this width, right, 75 pixels, and that is why it is stacked on top of each other. Even if I take it off, you can see it is stacked on top of each other. But we do not like work like that, right? We need flex. We are going to use Flexbox to understand the concept. So first we are going to use display property, and we'll put it as flex. And you can see the moment I make it flex, all the things now do not stack on top of each other. Now they are like sitting beside each other, like with each other, right? So next thing is, let's try justify content and start. Just as you know, justify content controls this axis, main axis. And one more thing, flex direction, right? To understand, flex direction is set to row by default. As you can see, it does not change anything because it's set to row. And when we set it column, right, flex direction column, you can see this works there like that now. Okay, so we will be using row first, understanding the row first. So justify content. Wait a second, what is happening? Is it not reloading? Yeah, I don't know why is it not reloading. Okay, so flex start, then comes flex end property. This puts it in the end, right? You can see it puts the flex items into the end. Then comes space around property. So it spreads the content items actually with the space around them. So this space and this space is equal, this space and this space is equal. And why? Because this space is around this element and this space is around this element, so it doubles up, right? You can see. So this so justify content, you can see is used to align the content and items on the horizontal axis, right? I can do center as well. It will put in the center, and let's see align items, right? Let's say I will do start first. It changes nothing because obviously it's in the start of the cross axis. Let's make it center. So it came in the center because it's obviously in the on the cross axis. Okay, so let me check. Just is there any questions, Prakhar? Like if someone is asking question or anything to say.
So yeah, I have told everyone that they can ask questions.
Yeah,
If
please.
we get some, I will.
It's really important. Please ask questions. It's an interactive session because even I will be making mistakes. All right, I'm not a professional or something like that. I'm also learning. So you can keep asking questions. So as you can see, justify content controls the horizontal and align items control the this cross axis, right? Main axis and cross axis. Let's now change it to column. Remove this. Now justify controls the cross axis. Obviously this is main axis now. Sorry, I made a mistake. So axis actually changed, property does not change. This is now main axis and this is now cross axis. Only axis changed, right? Let's make it end, flex end obviously. Flex end, and you can see it's in the end. I can do space around, right? And it will spread. I can do space between, and then space between these items is spread out as much as it can. So the items are like pushed up onto the corner. So you can see justify content now controls this. This is why a lot of beginners were confused. I did not do anything. I just changed the row and column, and that is how things work. You can see, literally you can see column and then row and column. Nothing that very complex or something like that, right? Let's control align align items center. It will come in here, right? And then flex end, and this will come here. So you can see these are the two most important things. Now let's talk about. We were talking about row. Now let's talk about row reverse. So there is nothing rocket science. You can see numbering. This is why I gave the numbering. Before it was starting with row, so the row was starting from here. When we reversed it, it went here. It's starting from the right. 1, 2, 3. And one more thing, which is very funny. Justify content. Flex stuff. You see, flex start should have put it here. Why? Why it's not putting it here? Because the direction is row reverse, right? Flex start, and let's do flex end, and now it's here. So you can see why a lot of beginners get confused. The reason is because it's not confusing. It's just how you approach this thing. One thing at a time and learn by doing is the most important thing you can do. Flex start, because it's row reverse, it's starting from here. Flex start and then flex end, right? And I can do space around, all right, and I can do space between, etc., etc. You can do a lot of things, and I'm not telling you what are the properties and all and what are the values, because you can obviously Google it. You can see. Here's the chat GPT. Tell me some most used Flexbox properties, and it will tell you obviously, right? Display, obviously, flex direction, justify content. So I'm not telling you those things because you have a lot of resources. So most of the most important resource you have is the chat GPT, obviously, and Bard as well. You can see a lot of properties here, and you can see you can use them. But I'm not going to deep dive into all of that, because most of the time you will be using like 4 or 5 properties most of the time. Flex direction, justify content, align items, and flex wrap. Basically, wrap is used to like when the content is. I will show you first. Let's go here. So this is row reverse, and then comes the column reverse. That is all. For flex direction, obviously. So this started from the first. It was starting from the top. Now it's starting from the end, right? You can see flex end. It will come here because it's ending, right? There is one property you can use, which is gap 10 pixels, so that you can like put a little gap, but it's not important because you can put the gap using margin or maybe padding as well. So it's just something like you should know, Like there are a lot of properties, right? So that was all about Flexbox in most of the cases, because this is how things work in Flexbox. There are a lot of more things, but I won't deep dive into it. Like I won't make it long. So there were only two things most important: access and the properties that control it. So we talked about row, how row works. Row is mostly justify content controls the main axis. Cross axis is controlled by align items, etc. You can see. I will share this as well if you are interested. This will help you understand. And then comes the row reverse. So row reverse from here to here, right from to left. And then when we make it column, axis change, right? Properties does not change, axis change. Properties stays the same. Justify content was working for main axis here and here as well. And then comes the column reverse. That is all. So now I will be showing you most important thing, what I used to learn Flexbox this way. So this is the
By the
most
way,
powerful.
Ashish is like asking for explain difference between align items and align content.
Okay. Yes,
If you can do it
exactly.
in like very quickly, because
Yeah, I'm just going to show you here. So I'm using this resource Flexbox Froggy to learn this concept. There are 24 levels you can use. Like here you can see in the last we used these properties: justify content, align items, flex direction. There is one more order. You can use it to change the order of the items. There is one align self. We did not talk about it, but we talked about these things, which are the most important. Then comes the align content. Okay, so let's see about align content. Okay, this is align content. You can see there are a lot of tons of items. So the main difference is align content aligns the content. Just listen it properly. Align content works on the content, and align items work on the single item, right? Single item. This you can see, like, let me show you. Align content puts all the content wherever you want. Like if you give it end, it's going to put all the rows and columns. It takes all the content, not a single element, not a single item, all the content. If it's a row, then it's going to put the row. If it's a column, then it's going to put the column. So that is the difference between align item and align content. So you saw we used align item here as well, right? Align item was used to like put the items in the cross axis, but the align content is different because it's aligning the content, a lot of things. Content contains a lot of items, right? So that is you can do center as well. You will understand when you will be using this resource. Okay, this is very playful and very interesting, so you should check it out, right? You will learn a lot of things. Like there is one flex wrap and all these things you can explore.
yeah, you can share the website URL and the Twitter thread for that, for the notes.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely check it out. And yeah, exactly. What thread?
That the notes one, which contain the Flexbox notes and all.
Okay. This Excel, I can share this sheet Excel draw file.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, because this is a lot better. You can understand. I mean, thread is good, but this is a lot powerful because it has all of the things. So I will share it. Exactly, this is more powerful. So I will share this one. So one more last resource you can use is Odin project. Odin project is really good. So I'm using Odin project and 100 Devs Bootcamp on YouTube. You can check it out. I will share the links in the chat, and you can ask any questions if you have. Like I have shared the resources as well. So I just told you most of the things, like how beginners should approach Flexbox and should not think it's very confusing or something like that, right? So I will share the resources now. Okay, I'm stopping sharing the screen because I think I took a lot of time. I don't know. I was supposed to take 20 minutes, but I don't know.
It was good. It's all for the first time, and one more thing, like this is also a good skill to have, is to talk in a limited time, because in professional
Yeah,
world
exactly.
people don't have a lot of time, and we need to explain something that actually is like 1 hour big, and we need to summarize it in 5 minutes. So
Exactly.
like it's a great skill to have to explain something in very concise form. So we will be learning this skill while teaching here.
I mean, yeah, that's the main thing. It's not like who is better and who is doing good. It's about learning together and sharing a lot of knowledge together, right? Even I will be learning grids next week, so I'll be sharing how I learned grids, right? So that's
Hmm.
how like we approach things, learn by doing, and all these things. So that is most important, learning and sharing it together, because that is most important, right? In a community, learning together. So I
Yeah.
now I will share uh, the resources. This is
Cool. So
for
you can share them
Flexbox
in the chat,
learning.
or I will also attach it to the announcement which we do so that everybody
Yeah,
else can access it, because in the chat it may get lost. Okay, that was a great session, Shubh, and I hope everybody, like many folks who are like going into CSS or learning Flexbox, got help and got some resources you may be going to learn in the future, or you may have already learned but needed a revision or something. I hope you got help. And Shubh, that was a great session.
thank you, Prakhar. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining.